Hey guys, Ryan Sprague here from Somewhere in the Skies, and today we're going to be doing another tier list for you guys, and we're going to be covering television shows that include UFOs. Now, I know this is going to be a very hotly debated list that I put together for you guys here. There's going to be things I missed, things that could be on here that aren't, and a lot of stuff like that. So, of course, as always, these are just my thoughts, my opinions, the list I came up with. There will be hundreds of other things that could be on this list, but are not. So let me know in the comments wherever you're watching this. What did I miss? What should I have included? What do you think of my choices and where I put them on the tier list and everything in between? But yes, these are television shows or television miniseries that had something to do with UFOs. There will be ones with aliens as well, as you will see. We like to often connect the two, UFOs and aliens, but they can be separated as well. We don't know what UFOs truly are or represent, but we have some ideas when it comes to these television shows. But yeah, I figure why not? Let's just go through these. What have you seen? What haven't you seen? Maybe you'll learn of some new shows. Maybe I'll learn of some shows from you guys and everything in between. So here is our tier list for tonight. So it's going to start right at the top there with Close Encounter of the Fifth Kind, which will be top tier, like ones you have to watch, ones I think are really hold up and should be watched for sure. Then you got Close Encounter of the Fourth Kind, Close Encounter of the Third, the Second, and the First. Close Encounter of the First Kind obviously being the ones that I think the least of, I would say. None of these are like bad per se, but these are ones that I think, you might be able to just skip. But yeah. So let's do it. Let's start here. So our first one is going to be a show called Project UFO. And if you guys don't know what Project UFO is, it was actually the first iteration of what would eventually be the television series Project Blue Book. So a little about Project UFO. Project UFO is from 1978, and it's inspired by the real-life U.S. Air Force investigation, Project Blue Book. It followed two investigators, Major Gatlin and Staff Sergeant Fritz, as they probe reported UFO sightings, aiming to either provide logical, earthbound explanations or leave them as inconclusive mysteries. So there you go, guys. I watched this entire series in like one summer. Basically, I binged the whole thing. I think John E.L. Tenney had the whole thing on his YouTube channel, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So where does it land in terms of the tier list? I'm gonna put it at CE4. It's definitely one you should check out, but it's really dated. 1978 was a while ago, and this was clearly something that came out not too long after Project Blue Book officially closed in 1969, I believe. So almost 10 years after this thing came out. But they did a good job of staying true to a lot of the Blue Book cases that were investigated, and they featured those throughout this series. So it's really good, but it's a little slow. It's got a lot of dated special effects, but they definitely gave it their all, and it was not bad for the time. A lot of models, I guess would be a good way to put it. They used a lot of models in that. So Project UFO is going in CE4. Next up is a classic. You guys know it. I'm sure you love it. And that is V, the miniseries. So V, the miniseries is from 1983, and it follows the arrival of seemingly peaceful alien visitors who win the trust of world leaders and the public by offering advanced technology. Journalist Mike Donovan soon uncovers the truth. They are reptilian beings, planning to exploit Earth and enslave humanity. As resistance groups emerge, ordinary people are pushed to fight back against a growing authoritarian occupation. V. Classic, so 80s, absolutely love it. You had, oh my gosh, what is his name? The guy who played Freddy Krueger. It's just like one of his first acting roles. He was in this thing, and I just love the aesthetic. And of course, you have the UFOs coming in for their first arrival to Earth. Very memorable, very iconic. You've got the posters, the propaganda posters with the big glasses that all the reptilians have to wear. And then you get the face reveals of the reptilians throughout. So it's a good story, a really good story about fighting, a fascist regime that's trying to come to Earth and enslave us and all that. And it's a classic. They remade it many years later. Didn't really hold up, the remake, in my opinion. But where does V stand for me? Close Encounters 4 as well. It's awesome. I love it. It's nostalgic. But it's just not top tier. Not top tier just yet. But what is our next one here? Oh, we have Intruders. So Intruders is from 1992. Intruders is based on the work of alien abduction researcher Bud Hopkins, and it follows a psychiatrist, a la Bud Hopkins, investigating patients who claim alien abductions, only to find striking similarities in their accounts. As the psychiatrist digs deeper, he uncovers evidence suggesting a widespread phenomenon beyond hallucination. His skepticism gives way to the chilling realization that something unknown may be interacting with humanity in secret. Now, again, this was a made-for-television mini-series, so that's why we included it here, and it obviously has a lot to do with the UFO topic, that being the subtopic of alien abductions, the very controversial subtopic, to say the least. What do you guys think of alien abductions? How do you think it was portrayed in Intruders back in 92? Where do I think it lay? I'm going to have to put it in CE3. It was good. It was a very respectable take on the whole alien abduction thing. But look, it's controversial, especially hypnotic regression nowadays. So I would have to put it down a little bit in terms of that. And in terms of like where it lay in the whole pantheon of UFO TV shows, it is a mini series. So we really don't get to know the characters that well. And we just kind of get the Cliff Notes version of a lot of the alien abduction phenomenon at the time, which was very scary and dark. And, not all alien abduction cases are claimed to have been like that. So, yeah, I'm going to put it in CE3. All right, what's next? Oh, I cannot believe we almost skipped this one, guys. We have got, of course, the one, the only. I'm moving our screen up a little bit here so you can see the X-Files. Yes, the X-Files from 1993. The X-Files follows FBI agents Fox Mulder and Dana Scully as they investigate unexplained cases involving UFOs, paranormal events, and government conspiracies. As they dig deeper, they uncover a hidden conspiracy suggesting the government may be concealing the truth about alien life. I could tell you so many stories about the X-Files, about my first episode that I saw, which was Quagmire, the Loch Ness Monster episode. I've interviewed actors from the X-Files on the show. I had the, pleasure of meeting David Duchovny on 2 different occasions. Once when he was in a play in New York City that I went to see. He kind of just brushed past me, so that was a little heartbreaking. I had waited all this time to meet this guy, and then boom, he just gets in his car and leaves. But hey, whatever. He doesn't owe me anything. But then I also got to meet him at Alien Con, one of those ancient aliens conventions, and he was a lot nicer then. So X-Files. It is the most iconic show of the 90s, I would say, along with stuff like Unsolved Mysteries and another show we're going to talk about in just a little bit here. But it's the X-Files. It literally defined an entire decade of television, of sci-fi, of taking true accounts of UFOs and bleeding them into this big conspiratorial fictional world that Chris Carter created. So, of course, the X-Files is going into CE5. I can't think of it going anywhere else, to be honest. So that's where that guy is going right there for sure. Next up, we have Dark Skies. You guys know Dark Skies? It's by our good friend and colleague Bryce Zabel and Brent Friedman, and it's from 1996. Dark Skies follows a young couple in the 1960s who become entangled in a secret alien conspiracy influencing major events in American history. As they uncover the truth, they learn that extraterrestrials have infiltrated the government and are quietly shaping the course of humanity. On the run, they fight to expose the invasion while evading both alien forces and the authorities determined to silence them. So Dark Skies, guys, you know the sordid history of this series. It was canceled way too soon. It was such a big, bold, ambitious series taking place in the 1950s time period, very expensive to produce for sure. But if you want the real true story behind Dark Skies, you gotta go listen to Sound, Light, and Frequency, the podcast by Bryce Sable and Brent Friedman, where they go through all the behind the scenes of this incredible show. I love it. I've got it on DVD. It has a very special place in my heart. So I would feel remiss if I did not put it up next to our good friends at the X-Files. These shows just go hand in hand together, in my personal opinion. A lot of people like to contrast and compare them, but I really do think they stand on their own as very different versions of the UFO lore and how to put that in a fictional world. So Dark Skies is going CE5, that's for sure. Our next show holds a special place in my heart, just for pure nostalgia. I came across it on the Sci-Fi Channel one night, I remember, and it just, for some reason, stuck with me. I thought it was a really interesting concept, and it was called First Wave. So First Wave comes from 1998, and it follows Cade Foster, a man who uncovers a secret alien invasion already underway on Earth, hidden within human society. On the run after being framed, he teams up with conspiracy theorist Eddie to gather evidence of the extraterrestrial plan. As they decode clues left by Nostradamus, they work to warn humanity before it's too late. This is just a guilty pleasure sci-fi show. I love the idea of like a prophecy sort of person, someone like Nostradamus kind of predicting this alien invasion, and this guy coming across it and using the quatrains within Nostradamus's prophecies to uncover this alien invasion on Earth. It was very action-heavy, espionage sort of feel, and it had a little bit of that X-Files flair to it too. You could tell they were trying to go for that Dark Skies X-Files feel, but yeah, just a fun guilty pleasure for me. So I'm gonna put First Wave in CE3. I hate to do it, but the acting's not that good. It got super, super like corny towards the end and just kind of went out with a whimper. So CE3 for that one. Next up, we have another iconic show from the I want to say 90s. Was it in the 90s? 1999. It was just on the cusp, and that is Roswell. Roswell follows a group of teenagers in a small New Mexico town who discover that some of their classmates are actually aliens hiding in human form. As they navigate love, friendship, and identity, they must keep their true nature secret from the world. When outside forces begin closing in, they are forced to protect themselves and uncover the truth about where they come from. So Roswell is very 90s. The music, the fashion, the actors, everything about it just screams peak late 90s. And I will be honest, I did not watch the entire show. It was very CW lovey-dovey teen drama, and that just was not my thing. But the fact that they like mixed it into the Roswell mythos was interesting. It was a cool concept, original concept for sure, that like these aliens have been here since 47 and they've been assuming human identities and they're not aging and stuff like that. It's interesting, and it was huge. It was a huge hit for the CW or UPN or wherever this aired in the United States at the time. So, you know, while I wasn't a huge fan of it, I know a lot of people were, but for me personally, I'm going to put it in CE3. Sorry for our Roswell fans out there. Our next one comes from none other than Steven Spielberg, and it is Taken, the miniseries. From 2002, Taken follows three families across generations whose lives become intertwined through a long history of alien abductions and government involvement. As their stories unfold, the series explores how these encounters shape their identities, relationships, and understanding of reality. Over time, a larger picture emerges, revealing a complex and evolving interaction between humanity and an unseen extraterrestrial presence. Taken is amazing. I just rewatched it recently, and boy, does it hold up, and does it have a lot to do with what I think might we see in Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day coming out in June. It's so cool. Again, it kind of starts with the Roswell case and goes through the generations of different families who are dealing with UFO phenomena, alien abductions, close encounters, and kind of what that does to them as the bloodline moves forward and these interactions with these quote unquote alien intelligence seem to be evolving in many ways. It's Spielberg produced, but it's written and directed by many different people throughout the miniseries. But I cannot recommend it enough. And Taken definitely belongs in CE5 for me, up there with Dark Skies and the X Files. Next up is a very obscure show that some of you may never even have heard of, and it was called The Event. The Event is from 2010, and it follows a man searching for his missing girlfriend, a journey that unexpectedly uncovers a vast government conspiracy. As the story unfolds, it's revealed that a group of extraterrestrials has been secretly detained on Earth for decades. When tensions rise, the truth threatens to spark a global crisis that could change humanity's future forever. Now, a little funny story behind The Event. I actually was working in Times Square at the time in New York City, handing out flyers for like musicals and restaurants and stuff like that. And I remember one time this black SUV pulls up in front of like thousands of people in Times Square. This guy gets out and he starts just ranting, "The event is upon us. The event is coming. The truth will be revealed in the event." And then these people in another SUV showed up and they were dressed as men in black, and they would take the guy into the SUV and drive away with him. And everyone's like, "What the heck just happened?" It was like this whole thing. And then they would replay that in real life, in real time, like all throughout the day. So it was clearly like a marketing and press event for the event, which was at the time very mysterious. No one knew what the event was. And it came to be that it was about the disclosure of UFOs and aliens that had been on Earth for a while. Unfortunately, the show, it just didn't gather legs. It didn't gather enough interest, and it got canceled before the actual event could be uncovered and disclosed to the world. So, it didn't do it for me personally. And this is going to be our first CE2. Ugh, I hate to say it. Just not for me. It was not for me. It could have been so good, but it just didn't turn out to be what we had hoped it would be. So sorry, The Event. So sorry. Next up is a really interesting one. This one is called Alien Encounters, and it's from 2012. Alien Encounters presents a speculative look at how humanity might first make contact with extraterrestrials. Using expert interviews and fictional dramatizations, it explores different scenarios for alien arrival and how governments, scientists, and the public could respond. The series builds a larger narrative suggesting that contact may already be unfolding in ways we yet to realize. This was really interesting. You had people like Neil deGrasse Tyson and I think Jill Tarter from SETI was in this thing. So it was a very hypothetical look at this, using a lot of SETI people and astrophysicists and like what could be. You saw a couple UFO personalities show up throughout the series, but it was the dramatizations that were pretty fascinating. Like, how would the world react to an impending alien communication or invasion or first contact? So it was pretty interesting. I remember really liking it at the time. It's a little dated by now, but it was fascinating. It was fascinating. Did it really hold up for me? Not crazy about it, to be honest. So I'm going to put it in, let's go CE4 on that one for sure. Our next one is very special to me. It is a show called People of Earth. People of Earth from 2016 follows a support group for people who believe they've been abducted by aliens, led by a skeptical journalist investigating their claims. As he listens to their stories, he begins to suspect there may be more truth to them than he expected. Blending comedy with sci-fi, the series reveals both the human side of belief and the strange reality behind the encounters. Now, when I first started the Somewhere in the Skies podcast, one of my first handful of guests was the guy who made the show, David Jenkins, who would go on to make, a lot of different shows. And this was, kind of his first breakout show, People of Earth. And I loved it. It was endearing. It was funny. It was heartwarming at times and a little scary when you take into consideration it has to do with alien abductions. But what I thought was cool is you got the perspective of the aliens too, as they're coming to Earth and abducting people. So you get to see their day to day on the ships, dealing with one another, their own problems, their own issues. And then on top of this, they got to go experiment with humans on Earth. So it was really fun, a really fun show. Again, canceled way too early. I wish we could have seen more of People of Earth, but it will always hold a very special place in my heart. So shout out to David Jenkins and shout out to People of Earth. It's going up into CE4 for me. It's just on the cusp of CE5. If it had had a longer life, I would have put it up in the pantheon of UFO and alien related television shows. Our next one is a reimagining, a reboot of Roswell. It's called Roswell, New Mexico this time. So coming out in 2019, Roswell, New Mexico follows a woman who returns to her hometown and reconnects with her teenage crush, only to discover he's an alien, hiding in plain sight. As their relationship rekindles, she becomes entangled in the dangerous secrets surrounding him and others like him. When threats close in, they must protect their identities while uncovering the truth about their origins. Again, this show, it got canceled on the CW too soon, but I thought it was really well acted. And again, I might be a little biased. Now, back when this show came out, the fictional version of Roswell, New Mexico, this is when I got my kind of big first television opportunity with Roswell Mysteries Decoded, the television show I did, where they sent us out to investigate the real UFO case. Me and Jennifer Marshall, a former Navy veteran turned private investigator. And we went out and did the real life investigation of Roswell. And I had the opportunity to actually, when Roswell, New Mexico, the fictional version, was about to premiere, I was living in Los Angeles and I got to give a presentation about the Roswell incident, the actual Roswell incident, to a whole room of like Amblin Entertainment, Steven Spielberg people, the people who produced Roswell, New Mexico, Warner Brothers. And it was pretty cool. It was like a 20-minute, I wanted to say 45, but it felt longer. It was probably more like 20 to 15 minutes to all these people. And they loved it. The whole cast of the show was there. I got to meet them. I got to quiz them on the Roswell incident. That was super fun. And yeah, it was just a lot of fun. So I have a lot of good memories and I really enjoyed the show. So, while the original Roswell from the 90s is in CE3, I'm actually going to put Roswell, New Mexico in CE4. little biased, I know. Our next one is going to be a little controversial, hot button for you guys, and that's Project Blue Book. Project Blue Book from 2019 follows scientist Dr. J. Allen Hynek, who was recruited by the U.S. Air Force alongside Captain Michael Quinn to investigate UFO sightings during the Cold War. As Hynek examines unexplained cases, he begins to uncover evidence that challenges his skepticism and hints at a larger mystery. Together, they navigate mounting pressure from authorities determined to control what the public is allowed to know. Project Blue Book was a time. It was definitely a time in UFO history, UFO pop culture, and it was really our first look at Dr. J. Allen Hynek, this guy who worked for Project Blue Book. A lot of people think this might have been a ripoff of Project UFO, the show we talked about at the top of this tier list from 1978. And yeah, it could be compared to that. This was kind of inspired by the actual cases of Project Blue Book and the real life and career of J. Allen Hynek. However, the show, for me, kind of went off the rails, and it really confabulated a lot of the cases of Blue Book and put them into this really heightened and elevated drama where I didn't think it really needed it. It didn't need these sensational conflation of cases and mixing and melding UFO lore, because it kind of really muddied the waters when it came to based on a true story. So as much as I would like to give Project Blue Book all of its, accolades that maybe some think it should have had for spreading the word and getting the the life and career out there as people like Jalen Hynek and maybe Project Blue Book, it went out. It got canceled. It went out with a whimper, and it kind of got forgotten to time, to be honest. So for me, I hate to say it, but I'm going to put it in Close Encounters 2, CE2. Oof. Oof. Here's another heartbreaking one. This show is called Debris. Debris from 2021 follows two agents from different countries who team up to investigate mysterious wreckage from a destroyed alien spacecraft scattered across Earth. As they examine its strange and often dangerous effects on people and the environment, these agents begin to uncover a larger hidden agenda behind the debris. Their mission draws them deeper into a global conspiracy that challenges their understanding of reality. Again, another very short-lived show that just didn't get time to really tell its story. I think it was canceled after the first, gosh, maybe 8 to 10 episodes even, to the point where I don't even know if I saw the last episode. But I really liked it. I love this idea that debris was left behind from a UFO wreckage, and it's having an impact, a very mysterious impact on those who come into contact with it. You know, that comes from the lore of like people who touched the Roswell stuff, no matter what you think the Roswell stuff was. And it's kind of bigger impact on society and humanity at large. It kind of was like an unfolding story, something like Lost, where just little pieces of the puzzle are coming to light. And I really wish we'd gotten that full puzzle. And we just didn't. But for me, I really liked it. I liked what I saw. So I'm going to put Debris in CE3 for sure. Man, CE1, no really bad ones. That's good. That's really good. Our last one we're going to be covering tonight, guys, and I know there's hundreds of others we could have covered, but this is just the first one we're going to be doing. And it is a fun show called Resident Alien. Resident Alien from 2021 follows an alien sent to Earth who assumes the identity of a small-time doctor who secretly is carrying out a mission to destroy humanity. As he struggles to blend in, he begins to develop unexpected connections with the people around him. Torn between his assignment and his growing empathy, he questions whether humans are worth saving after all. I love the show. Ellen Tudyk's amazing. It was another example of a show that, you know, kind of went under the radar for a while and then had its peak and then got canceled. But apparently it's coming back, and we're going to get the finale of it. It may have aired already, actually. I'm not too sure. But I love Ellen Tudyk. I love his representation in this show. And I love kind of the murder mystery behind it all. You know, people start dying in the town and he's helping to uncover that. Meanwhile, the alien invasion is happening. People are understanding that he's an alien and they're keeping it quiet. And it was just a fun show. And I really hope it gets the finale that it deserves. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I will continue to love it. And I'm going to put Resident Alien in C5. Boom. There we go, guys. That was our tier list. I'm going to post this for you guys eventually on social media and all that. But this is just the first of many tier lists we're going to do of UFO television shows, UFO movies, stuff like that. And I want to know what you guys think. Again, these are just my thoughts, my theories, my opinions on these things. You're going to have drastically different thoughts and opinions. And again, I know I missed a ton. So let me know in the comments below what we should cover next, what kind of tier lists you would like us to do in the very near future. I really look forward to hearing your thoughts on that. And yeah, we'll do more fun stuff like this in the future. But for those who may not be subscribed to the channel, go ahead, click subscribe right now. So there's something like 85% of people who watch the videos are not subscribed on YouTube, which is crazy. So take just a moment, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell so you're notified when we come out with more videos like this. And yeah, we look forward to doing more fun stuff with you guys on stuff like this. Rate and review the Somewhere in the Skies podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple. We would truly appreciate that. And yeah, that's going to do it. So from me to you, thank you. Thanks for spending your morning, your afternoon, your evening with us here at Somewhere in the Skies. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good one. And I'll leave you with our mantra as always. Keep your feet on the ground, but never stop searching somewhere in the skies.